Hey everybody, Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you. This time talking episode 13 of season 2 of Star Wars Rebels called The Call. And frankly, I really wasn't too wowed by this episode for several reasons. The main one being, oh wow, space whales again. Uh, I mean, whales are cool and all, but this just seems like such a cliche. I mean, people have been trotting these things out since at least like the 1970s. So, yeah. I mean, okay, mixing science fiction and whales was basically cool with the Akanti in those old X-Men comics. Yeah, that we saw that there. Well, it wasn't exactly the same thing. That was basically a big deal in Star Trek 4. There was a whole episode of Doctor Who where, space whales. I'm pretty sure there was basically the same thing on Torchwood. I mean, again, I have seen this thing so damn many times. And it's not that this episode does a bad job with the idea, but again, it's just like, this again? And my other big gripe this episode is that the Rebel crew have, killed God only knows how many stormtroopers, and have tangled with and survived the likes of Inquisitors, and, they even survived a brush tangling with Darth Vader. But here, a bunch of miners are giving them an enormous run for their money. And then there's a little bit of an ethical issue going on here. Now, this is kind of comes back to the whole construction workers on the Death Star situation. Granted, these miners are supplying this fuel for the Empire, but the rebels are also coming in there to steal these guys' stuff that they've done, and all these guys are basically trying to do is like, hey, don't steal the stuff that we're going to be selling because that's our livelihood. I mean, seriously, can you imagine if people like go busting into an oil refinery to steal a whole bunch of oil, and the workers are try and fight back to prevent this, and it's the people who are stealing the oil who are kind of presented as the heroes, because that's basically what's happening here. They're coming into this place to steal all this stuff that these guys have worked for, perhaps knowing the Empire, not entirely of their own free will. We don't know. And another thing is like that situation where like they're fighting with the miners, and Ezra uses the Force to push that one Rodian guy off the platform. I'm pretty sure the Jedi are supposed to, at least under most circumstances, give people the option to surrender if at all possible. And, given that he's a Jedi, it's sort of like, geez, did you guys even think about giving these guys some sort of an option to surrender? Nope. Now, I don't think they would have taken it, but still. Ezra literally killed a guy who was basically just doing his job trying to prevent people from stealing stuff. And this is, again, not even somebody who's a member of a stormtrooper. This is just like an ordinary working class schmuck who was basically in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, I suppose you could sort of take that as a reminder that war is a very morally gray thing, but still, this is never even sort of mentioned or thought upon by anybody in the episode at all. I mean, would these guys have even put up that much of a fight if they hadn't had that jerk ass manager breathing down their necks? It's just like, all right, fine, just take the damn stuff. Yeah, the Empire will be pissed, but well, actually, the Empire would probably just have all those people thrown into prison or tortured to death. So, yeah. Anyway, now there were some things in this episode that I did like. For example, the conflict between Hera and Kanan. Hera's like, hey, these animals are dangerous, we should just blast the frickin' things. And Kanan points out, look, they're just animals doing what animals do. They don't mean us any harm. There's no need to hurt them, and get aggressive here if we don't have to. And, in this situation, they're both right, which is cool. I also liked how they continue to highlight that Ezra, in terms of his various force powers, is really strong when it comes to connecting with animals. And here, I mean, it's played for in a way that's really, really cool. It works very well. Again, the whole thing of like, oh, the space whale gives him back his helmet in order to, in time, to prevent him from suffocating to death. Cliche, cliche, cliche. But yeah, ultimately, it's a disappointing episode, but it's a disappointing episode that I can live with. And I did have to say, I did like when the Purrgil got pissed off and basically either ate uh, the mining foreman or dragged him down to the gas where he would suffocate or just let him fall to his death. That was kind of cool. It's something you could kind of see that was going to happen, but eh. Although, if I understand it right, what Ezra said, that they use the gas for both food and fuel to travel around the galaxy. So, hmm, eating the foreman really would have been more an act of defense rather than seeking nutrition. But eh. And yeah, that's kind of sums up everything I had to say about this episode. It's just, to me, kind of disappointing. And I guess with that said, folks, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi. You can also join me on Tumblr at Jedi Reviewer. And until next time, take care and have a good one.